I jolted awake in complete darkness. My heart thumped against my ribs for no reason. The room felt too quiet and too cold. I squinted at the glowing numbers on my nightstand. 3 a.m. 3 in the night. That stupid hour when every nightmare wakes up. Then a half-remembered TikTok meme crawled into my brain. The one where you shout something at 3 a.m. to invite chaos. I sat up and swallowed a dry laugh. I listened to the silent house for a long moment. Then I filled my lungs and yelled into the black air. I yelled, 6-7. The words hung in the room like smoke. For a second nothing happened. Just my own breath rasping in my ears. Then my computer monitor flickered on by itself. I had not touched it all night. A cold needle of fear slid down my spine. The screen brightened without any warning sound. Roblox launched as if invisible hands clicked the icon. My avatar stood motionless in some strange server. Hundreds of other players were already there. They were not running or playing. They stood in perfectly straight lines. The lines bent and curved with terrifying purpose. I leaned closer and my stomach clenched. The entire crowd had formed the shape of a number. 6 and then 7. A massive living number 67 made of silent avatars. Not a single one moved. They all just stared at my character. I slammed the laptop shut. My phone buzzed. Discord lit up with a torrent of messages. Every server I had ever joined went insane at once. Best friends who never spam typed the exact same thing. They typed 67 again and again. Dozens of people I knew. All of them flooding the chat in perfect sync. One friend wrote, "Look at your window right now." My skin prickled. I crept to the glass and pulled the curtain aside. The street outside was drenched in an impossible twilight. It was the middle of the deep night, but the sky glowed a thick shade of orange. Low clouds churned slowly above the rooftops. They stretched and twisted as I watched. Two separate cloud masses drifted toward each other. One curled into a sharp 6 shape, the other coiled into a bent 7. They hung there like a brand burned into the heavens. I stumbled backward, and my bare foot touched something wet. I looked down. My cat sat on the rug licking his paw, but on his side a pattern bled through his fur. Someone had drawn on him. The drawing was done in dark red ketchup. The sticky letters spelled out the number 67. My brain short-circuited. I had no ketchup bottle in my room. I had not done this. I could not understand how any of it was possible. A small whimper escaped my throat. Then my bedroom door creaked open. The hallway light made a tall shadow stretch across the floor. My mom walked in holding a plate. She smiled a little too wide and said, "I brought you a snack, sweetie." I stared at the plate in her hands, a pile of golden French fries. But they were not scattered. Every single fry was arranged with deliberate care. They formed the exact shape of a 6 and then a 7. Even the smaller broken pieces were placed to complete the curves. My mom just stood there with that plastic smile. Her eyes looked slightly glassy. I opened my mouth to scream. No sound came out at first. My voice finally tore out of me in a raw shriek. I shook my head and stumbled against my desk. My hands flew up to cover my face. That was when I felt it. Something was profoundly wrong with my fingers. I pulled my left hand away and counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My heart stopped. Then I counted again. 6. There were 6 fingers on my left hand, small and pale, but fully real. I raised my right hand with bile rising in my throat. I counted out loud in a cracked whisper. 7. 7 fingers on my right hand. 6 on one side, 7 on the other. I flexed them. They moved, every extra bone bent at my command. Pure animal terror flooded my body. I had become part of the joke. The number was not just around me anymore. It was in me. I was being rewritten. The panic felt like drowning for a long, terrible minute. Then something in my brain flipped like a switch. I stopped shaking. A manic idea took root. If the horror would not stop, I would make it go viral. I grabbed my phone with my new 7-fingered hand. The extra digit tapped the screen alongside the others. It felt disgustingly natural. I opened TikTok and hit record. My face looked pale and my eyes were too wide. But I forced a grin and wiggled all 13 fingers at the camera. I spoke fast into the lens. I yelled 6-7 at 3 a.m. Now my life is a cursed math problem. Look at this. I showed the cloudy digits outside the window. I flipped the camera to my plate of number-shaped fries. I pointed at my cat still licking ketchup from his fur. I held both monster hands up close. I said, "Count them. 6 and 7. This is not a filter." I uploaded the video with shaking thumbs. The phone screen flickered once. A notification popped up almost immediately. My video had exactly 67 likes. Not 66 or 68, just 67. And the count refused to budge. No comments came. No new notifications arrived. The world outside the screen fell utterly silent. Then a sound split the quiet. A deep, blaring truck horn. It was not distant. It was right behind my skull. The walls of my room rippled like a painted curtain. My mom and my cat dissolved into grey static. The floor beneath me turned soft and hot. I opened my eyes with a violent gasp. And I was somewhere completely different. I was sitting in the cab of a rumbling semi-truck. The steering wheel was warm under my thick, calloused hands. A wet patch of drool soaked the front of my sweat-stained shirt. I raised my face and caught my reflection in the rear-view mirror. It was not the skinny kid from the dream. A round, stubbled face stared back at me. My hair was a greasy, tangled mess across my wide shoulders. A heavy belly pressed against the cheap plastic of the driver's seat. I smelled diesel fuel and old coffee and cheap deodorant. Every inch of me was a tired, middle-aged trucker. I sat motionless for a solid minute. The memories of the nightmare were already slipping away. 67 meant absolutely nothing to me. I did not know any memes. I did not watch TikTok. I just hauled freight from one state to another. I grunted and wiped sweat from my double chin. Probably ate too much gas station pizza before my nap. Then I saw my hands on the wheel. Just 5 fingers on each one. Normal, hairy, knuckled trucker hands. I let out a slow breath and turned the ignition. The engine roared and the headlights cut through the empty night. I pulled the rig back onto the highway and forgot the whole dream. I hope you enjoyed this story. Not gonna lie, I pooped my pants twice while I was reading it. Subscribe to my channel, Creepy Dark Horror TV. Leave a like and a comment.